this is the launch for Disappearing Boy. We're gonna get going. I'm gonna mute everybody. I'm sorry, and then we're gonna open up to Ganega.
Okay. Good. All right. So hello and welcome. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Paul Ganega, editor of 3 Mile Harbor Press, which has just published the terrific new collection of poetry we are celebrating today, Disappearing Boy by Paul LaTorre. First, a word or two about Mr. LaTorre, with some full disclosure. He's an activist, an educator who teaches at Bloomfield College, New Jersey, which is, lo and behold, where I taught for many years. Okay, so I have known him as teacher, colleague, editor, fellow student, and friend, and come to admire him as one of the most generous and big-hearted individuals I've ever known, with almost bottomless reserves of energy and creativity. We'll be hearing some of that creativity this afternoon. And what a great way to spend an hour during these really difficult times. But first, beware. The poems in Disappearing Boy are not an easy ride. They engage difficult, sometimes painful material with courage, intelligence, and honesty. Scrupulous, unflinching honesty. But also with a howling good sense of humor. Trauma is not a stand-up act, Paul writes, but even in their darkest, levity shines through these poems with wit, wordplay, and a wide range of allusions to pop culture icons. What I think you're about to hear is the stunning debut of a poet who is both contemporary and archetypal, intimate, and epic. And as the poet himself wonders, with great bearing on his work, when has intimacy ever been clean? Damn good question. It is with great pride 3 Mile Harbor presents Paul LaTorre. Take it away.
Oh. Yay.
Okay.
Whoa.
Sorry, I unmuted all y'all. I forgot to unmute myself. All right. I'm so humbled and honored by, Ganega. And I just wanted to say before I started, a big thank you to Ganega, because those of you who don't know that he, is the publisher of this book. I know it means a lot to be selected, to have my work selected, because he was my mentor before I knew what a mentor was. And his say on poetry, not just my poetry but all poetry, classic and contemporary, has been like scripture to me. And so getting his stamp of approval on this has meant the world to me. And trusting me to represent 3 Mile Harbor Press, which I'm very honored and happy to be a part of, has just it's helped me feel like I'm realizing the things that I've always wanted for myself, and I've been working diligently for my entire adult life and then some. So thank you all for joining us today. And like I said, don't be afraid to be loud and boisterous. Get things going in the chat. Don't feel any pressure, because as Ganega said, these poems do not hold back. So I want to make sure you guys equally don't hold back. All right. So I'm gonna put us back on mute until I'm done with the first piece or two. And this is it. All right. So the first piece I'm gonna be reading is called The Prestige. As Ganega said, I do make hella pop culture references. So this is a reference to a movie. If y'all haven't seen it, watch it. It's one of the most brilliant top 5 movies I would ever recommend people. Christopher Nolan, one of his best films way better than the Batman franchise, and that comes from a Batman fanatic. All right, so the procedure. Boys desire to be desired to. Boys move out of single-parent homes and into double occupant condos of unwilling to fix foundations so they never fill the vacant rooms. Men make tombs of their defects, erecting monuments to conquest and mislabel it company. Boys can also be whores, you know. Boys ignore knocks on doors and keep pleading. Boys use fingers as tongue depressors when depressed and hit eject. Boys look into mirrors at shapes that aren't there and also want not to be there. Boys become assistants to magicians, willing to help them learn to disappear and then reappear again each evening with the flick of an abracadabra wrist. Boys become men who vanish altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes, Paul.
All right, so the next piece, I'm going with a few short ones to lead off because usually my tendency is to lean into the epic and the sprawling and the like 5-page poems. So I've honestly I held myself back in selecting these pieces in trying to be as, liberal as I can with disclosure and whittling and being selective. So one size fits. All of us have a type. Schindler's List thin, Starvation Gandhi thin, ungodly thin, like Paris Hilton after purging 6 Big Macs, Tom Hanks, Philadelphia. Jared Leto and Dallas Gaunt. Ribs could play xylophone like my withhold of protein led to emaciated days of near fainting on Stairmaster after chugging a sugar-free Red Bull with taurine, which is actually bile. Scorching eyes as chlorine crotch touches during first summer swim. Angelina Jolie cheekbone thin. Won't even eat a wafer thin. Paper doll thin. Kate Moss thin. Chemo treatment patient thin as pre-Easter Jesus apocryphal thin. And all these idols fit on the altar which we kneel to nightly and make our sacrifice.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
That was great, Paul.
Nice.
So
Really visualize that.
Yeah, Xander. So full disclosure, a lot of what I write about in this book is my own experience with living with, and I guess you could say surviving, an eating disorder for the better part of my adult life. So that is why I chose the, cover image that I did. And I write about that pretty, in depth, and I guess you could say to gruesome detail in some pieces. So yeah, I mean, like writing about it is something I feel has been cathartic for me. It's been a way for me to move past it and not allow it to hold a grip on. It's the way I can have control without having the ultimate control. So yeah, this is another piece that I'm gonna see how this goes. I'm very apprehensive about reading this because, full disclosure, there's a lot of people in this room who are not expecting this from me, and it is my family in this room as well. But whatever, for the sake of art, here we go. How bulimia is a whole lot like masturbation. Consider your sacred time, all the private nights you cancel plans and choose instead to be with your lonesome hand. Think of those closest to you, friends, siblings, followers. You're aware that they all do it, right? I mean, look around, peer beyond the flesh facade into that swelling well of want. Look within. Now contemplate. Wouldn't you rather be pulling one out right now, extracting its shit? I bet someone is this instant while picturing your lean physique, browsing subreddits of sub-fetish set in some seedy club, lubing up the ideal which never culminates, but still playing to innate desires like strangling neck till head turns blue. Your conservative cousins definitely do. Head to any Sunday mass and witness parishioners in open orgy casting call, passing around plates and fives. Palms and thighs, pious hands working overtime, offering flesh and wine, DNA scattered like CSI spatter scenes. Think Jackson Pollock, only less tactfully. Worshippers emerging from confession booth with glistened face and rehearsed diatribes. Oh, we were being baptized. I took a bath, ran it to wash my face, but fabulous ways. Unfazed by fork tongues, each meal expunged becomes master playlist curated by your index. Queuing up all-time hits and recommended for you so wrist can flick like auteur yo-yo tricks, throttling without consciousness, digits press into soft raw flesh and manifest the tug and rub and jut and smash and press and caress and jerk and spurt until carnal carnage of waves cascade and spackle with afterbirth to exacerbate thoughts like, is it morally right to support this blatant waste? of life. Fully knowing if found out, you will be shunned, but who could give a micro shit as you leave the room spent? Face flushed, shame mixed with accomplishment, rubbed up neck and thoracic column stiff from fappening, grasping trigger till nothing remains but muddled red, muggle blood, throat cut from jugular to carotid. Lashes batter lower lids like wings broke from chrysalis when pressed for time, sure. A shower quickie will do. Abrupt to wipe the thick, viscous-like glue from sink nails, knees, and keyboard clean, the reason being release, a regret. A soul-possessing hunger you just can't fill on dating apps, so you turn Tinder full-blown brush fire, insides gone external in hopes to combust from rush. Oxytocin, vasopressin, and phenylethylamine provide, which means I've been shooting dopamine into that hole of need. Full body thrush with prana, from nirvana you can never reach. Clothes still reeking gunpowder. Here we are now. Enter, drain us, hit play on temporaneous tongue, kneel and court your love, swearing clean and yet every preemptive empty second of the day spent with bated breath on the precipice, ready to burst.
Woohoo.
Awesome. I got that, Paul. I was there.
Claps, Anderson.
I was there.
Really powerful.
Yeah. So I guess it wasn't that bad, you know. I performed and I didn't like combust into flames, you know. I'm alive, you know. So yeah. Oftentimes the things that we're the most apprehensive about, like putting our truth out there, you know. I feel like we can fear it and feel like it'll be the end of us, but a lot of the time it's really not. It's just the beginning of the real, you know, us. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. I've got 2 more pieces left in this set before I get on to some requests. So hopefully you guys are like firing up pieces from the book that you want to hear and start thinking of those, because I got 1 short piece and 1 long piece, and then y'all are gonna get whatever you request from me. All right, so this one's called B. It's like that guy you went to college with and partied with and wondered why he'd always get so excited for girls from the sorority to come over and sip wine coolers until you saw him slip a Rufalin into a White Claw, and you wondered what if all the drinks were spiked with Rufio so he could bang-a-rang any piece of Tinkerbell he saw suitable, and then you got woozy while looking through the looking glass of ruby slipping Rubik's Cube spitting solo cups. Out it comes, and next thing you know, you're waking up caked in fairy dust, sore and doubled over, ready to forget and ready to be subjected to this all over again.
Yeah. I like that one.
Okay, I'm gonna read 1 more piece from the pieces that at least I had like curated myself, and then from there I kind of want to have this be interactive. I want you guys to kind of dictate whatever else that I haven't chosen, because it is a pretty, you know, compact book. I could sit here and read them all to you, but I'm not going to do that because I don't like the sound of my own voice that much. I want to have, you know, time to engage with y'all. So this is my last piece from my set, and yeah, I hope y'all enjoy it. Boys don't. We have all been fed fantastic lies that boys don't cry, that we can't possibly be, insert insult here, that real men don't seek treatment, eating disorders are a sign of weakness, that manorexia isn't even a thing and bulimia is a girl disease, that shame lives in shadow and shadows are only larger refractions of bodies left when light is cast on them. So if you ever want to hide a thing, keep it in dark. Don't expose yourself to the signs like bird flapping in coal mine throat. Lock the bathroom door, run faucet so long that water bill becomes national debt. Stop starving and flush when you've had enough, if that ever comes. It was insinuated to me that as a man, thigh gaps aren't attractive, that there's no benefit to slow wasting, yet I found proof contrary. Hella women willing to do Star Trek signs with their thighs, that swim good and prosper shit, moments fleet like Starship Enterprise. I mean, I've dipped in so many wells with this pen, it fell in love with the concept of branding and forgot what damage ink does to permanence, that ribs aren't scrolls keeping tally, but an empty cage you carry to display where a bird lived once. So this is what being half is like. Joy folded into its own division, hair brittling, teeth translucent, near fainting, faint hint of vomit, tongue polyped, and all the washcloths clotting blood, saliva like dust, excuses piling up in sink for why you won't meet up with friends this week. and never eat lunch. Weaker alibis as to why you refused to come out to some lounge. It was bloat that day. Facing the drain, you give 1,000 names and heap empty praise into tributaries spilling out, feeding river mouths. I was fucking lauded for my progress when I got healthy. The whole family said they saw such positive, dying to hear my regimen, some assumed heroin. I replied, just eat right and exercise, but still felt marginal, sensed sarcasm, and saw fat wherever bone was not poking through skin, stretched, taught as drum-covered songs, marked on blogs from Bon Iver's Skinny Love to Tom York's creepy echoing. When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. 'Cause I could eat, feel unfulfilled, and let spill, but this here's a sigil for those who won't let food enter them without consent. From consuming thoughts of tossing up, boys do too. I don't care if it hurts. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to notice when I'm not around. You're so fucking special. I wish I was special. 'Cause I'm a thief. I keep taking without needing while heaving, stirring fingers round deep tissue misogyny of tongue wall led tectonic shift of lingual septum where fat deposits topple and bile swallowed till I choke like a snuff film. But I'm a creep. Curious how ribcage looks like wings when split. Funny the things you notice fitting fingers inside each rib. I'm a weirdo. And yet still on my knees for you, on knees to fill this need for you to see through me, although I've never seemed to be thin enough, ribs enough, hips enough, giving up on a sickly love. What the hell am I doing here? Despite having been overweight, obese, and deathly thin, I don't think I've ever been happy once where I stand. We all let the shadows in, and packs of voices taunting. Boys do not, until they're caught in the act and get taught to withhold. Boys just don't. Because boys who hide or purge or cry, leave cuts on thighs, just don't belong here, I guess. I don't belong here. We all have bodies we deposit in dark closets and seek reassurance we aren't alone, not wanting to be seen as some anomaly, oddity, freak. Yeah, maybe I'm a creep, but so are you. And don't we all belong here?
Great piece and great singing, Paul. Great singing.
Amazing, Paul.
Paul. So
So
good.
proud of you, Paul.
That's so bad.
I'm trying not to cry.
I
Bravo,
appreciate you.
Paul.
Put that all on the table at that point, right on?
Yeah. So now I've moved past the point where I kind of chose some pre-prescribed pieces to read. If there are any that you all would like to hear from the book, from my IG page, from the heaven,
Hi.
from wherever you guys, whatever pieces you guys would like to hear, you guys can drop it in the chat. You can just kind of like flag me down.
Can you do mirror talk?
Can I what?
Mirror talk.
Mirror talk? Okay. So we got Eric and Jarika said too close, and I got mirror talk from Pamela. If anyone else has any others, you can drop them in the chat now. Thank you, Patricia. I appreciate that. Dark arts? Okay, yeah. Oh, that's one I'm actually really nervous to read and don't know if I would survive. Well, I will just let things pile up, and I'll read the first piece that I saw in the chat, and then whatever has the most, I guess, like feedback, I'll go back and read whatever is the next highest voted, right? So I felt like it was important to put voice to the things that I've struggled with as a man, male body image and masculinity, all these things revolving around our bodies and the way we're perceived by society in this space where typically, people think only women are judged by their physical appearance, but we can also be really hard on ourselves. So I mean, like I tried to bring light to male eating disorders because I felt like that was something I've known people go through it and not want to talk about it, and I myself wasn't comfortable sharing it for a long time, so I didn't. And this next piece is kind of talking about being in a space where you are social. I was a 20-something. I was like out and partying, and I would still worry every single time I go out. Like, okay, so how many calories are in this shot? How many calories are in this drink? And instead of just actually living, it was me on like a hamster wheel in my brain. So this piece is called Too Close. One night out prowling, probably 2009, when I met this siren that reminded me of the 90s. Poison played as she'd grind on me. Girl, I must warn you. Something strange is going on within this nihilist I who just inherited newfound pleather bravado from shedding half a man. Approached by this poacher huntress, bold enough to grab this pup by the scruff as she sung, baby, when we're grinding, I get so excited. So anxiously I spat back, baby, you're perfect and I wanna get in. Staring at the 6.5 I am Trojans in my head, because when all you see is empty numbers, it becomes easy to disconnect digits from flesh. And yes, it escalated with all my boys egging on, holding up the wall at Copa's told me if I smashed raw dog, I'd be God to them. If I were you, I'd take precaution. Before you step to me, fly girl, just know I don't see nothing wrong with a little jump on it. Let's do it, ride my pony all night long. But in back of head, voices chorus, inverse hallelujah of she's gonna see her body, all of it. Each naked part and all its inept awkwardness, but unironically, this muck got sprung by way of Pavlovian. Stimulus contingent on control. Her body rung and mine barked, you're making it hard for me. Another shot and another now. Chasing down vanity, tallying calories, keeping count of casualty, chattered teeth at the bloat to come before I do, but with music hushing doubt, I shut it down. So this is how we do it on the dance floor till she waterfalls. Don't go chasing thoughts cascading, cause I swore I'd never trust a big butt and a smile again. But on our way from the club to her friends, she's driving me out of my mind. That's why it's hard, I guess. Body telling me yes, mind telling me something else entirely. I get pre-chewed pubescent pangs of I want to get down, but not like this. As we bust in her friend's complex, come and talk to me, she says, leading us from front door to boudoir. I can tell, she can tell. Something's off. Cue vampire me, avoiding mirrors, hovering scene of two bodies in heat. Well, one technically, the other feigning intimacy. Never sure how to just be. Is getting hot in her. I protest, and she riposte, taking off all her clothes, throwing them on the floor, and I'm gonna take mine off too, only more cautiously. I made plans to be with you. Tantric whispers how she's been thinking about freaking you every freaking second since we locked eyes on that hardwood and unsuspecting PYT, and she set scope on me to blow, breathing helium into it until I go interior, never all here, and probably incapable of meeting honey's fantasy, but the idea of conquest brought you here, conquistador. And since machismo don't want no scrub, when she asks if I'm ready to bump and grind, I rip the rubber off my mind, shrug and reply, no diggity, I got to bag it up.
Yeah, but where? Where are you going?
So
Okay, give
yeah,
me the-
that was kind of like those mixtapes, those compilations that you order from a late night commercial in the late '90s.
BMG music.
But yeah, also the way that those messages in all of our like R&B music are very insidious and sexually to meet up to this expectation of this standard. You feel lesser than and being conscious of your body in any space. So yeah, I'm going to, I guess, choose one or two more. So Dark Arts, Hammer, Mirror Talk. I don't really know which way to go first. I
Do
feel
them
like
all.
Hammer. Do them all? Okay, so I'm just gonna
Go
choose
for it.
which.
Go for it, dude.
I'll do Mirror Talk first because that's the first one I'm finding. I will do Mirror Talk, I will do Dark Arts, and then I will close out with Hammer, and we'll do some Q&A. Cool, so I appreciate all y'all being patient, and I can't wait to hear from y'all too. All right.
Don't forget your new phone.
Oh yes. Okay, so Mirror Talk. I don't want to go to the party. Let's be party. To an opportune criming, reverse me, looks he in the slip up, vice come vice constrict, echo, As if hiccups, it comes full body hijacking of the Timoff. Kids in tubes kept cupboard. What's the point of flush if it's evident? Unenamored with every stretch. Glossy oculus glaring back. Smile for the chimera. Knowing full well every shed is irreparable and nothing's gained in bone gray but atrophied. One more swig which burns far less plunging than coming up. Irises rise from sink. Face wet with taste sweat. There's wasted and there's wasted. Then there's you.
Dang.
Thanks for reading.
That's a dark piece. That's a dark piece. If you see it, it's kind of a concrete piece where I created the image of a mirror, and that piece is just about like negative self-talk. You know, I'm gonna stop giving away my secrets to these because I gotta save stuff for y'all to ask me in the Q&A. I feel the nature to just explain all my shit, and I really don't need to do that. Okay.
Hey, you're a teacher.
Yeah. That is the teacher nature in me where I'm like, let's break this down. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let's dissect my own work, which I know damn well. All right. So I'm about to read a piece that I have never performed in front of anybody in life. I did record for Pamela and her wonderful literary magazine, Narrative Northeast. There's an audio version of this poem up on her site if y'all want. I hope she can drop the link to her publication, her literary magazine, in the comments, so y'all can check it out if you want, if you like it. But this is a piece that I've been very nervous about sharing, but you just got to jump in the water sometimes. So here's Dark Arts. The sex is not the type with nails dug in and marks on back. It's the type where you call them back later that day to ask if they got home okay. It's the kind you can't connect to consciousness long enough to muster words either way. Silencio. Where you seem present but spectral hover above the bed, Wingardium Leviosa, like some myrtle ghost of dissociate, polyjuice brewing others faced, left hand gone translucent, Evanesso, and there's no one there to pull you through, just apparition of you, vanishing. So sure, you relent, turn serious black, ridiculous shadow you enfold in defense. The girl I lost my virginity to raped me twice in my room. The door opened in broad afternoon. And I know what you'll say. Men can't be raped. It doesn't work like that. Anatomically, one must keep up in order to penetrate, but I am living testament contrary. In some strange way, I thought her rapaciousness praise. That being ensnared by her could validate manliness, someone wanting this chubby muggle kid so much they'd tear through clothes, objections, and protection spells. She made me forget myself, obliviate. This girl was sorceress. A contortionist bending bodily frame and brain, and I, no escape artist, couldn't conjure cloak of invisible, caught in grip of constrictor hips, writhing wand while hex left lips imperious. But what if doors are not patronuses to keep Death Eaters at bay, but rather portholes to be entered, breached? Disarming spells, Expelliarmus, you thought would help you erase details, the gray of the wallpaper, cold of sheets, day of the week, the snakes in her hair, red or green, that every impression impressed can latch onto you and sink fangs into. I was caught between the Gini gaze and some hard place, stupefied. Escape became astral plane, trapped in chest, bound to bed. The second time, didn't get to use protection. She woke me up and rode, cackling as I said no, like it's a joke. I felt like that though. Anytime I brought up my violation, it was turned anecdote. Shit, she could rape me any day, you know? Comedian Terry Crews was mocked when he accused a man of sexually abusing him. Imagine what I get. Trauma's not some stand-up act. See, when I'd confessed, felt so unbelievable repressed, I stopped trying to. And I know our kind are due. Millennia negative back karma. Men are snakes. Dumb and often venomous, wrapping prey in anaconda vice. We bar hop carnage and force down limbs before digest, swallow whole through esophagus. But I hadn't fed on anyone. I was just 17, a neolate. Man up. You must have wanted it. Men always consent incorrect. Fathom backing a stance so radioactive. Imagine dragons nesting in multitudes on top of you, teething fantastic beasts consuming lock and key as their mother did, hung in the upside down levicorpus. Rape is about power, not sex. A display of dominance, and she who shall not be named lorded hers over me. Sorceress left hurriedly, only to text the next day and say she was carrying, that it had to be mine. That as a man, you have to provide. And I wanted anything but that to be true, to tether us. When asked by friends why I wouldn't raise my kid to be just like me, one devoid of empathy, kind of breed, this raise and feast, and let all he holds dear be seized. Only no seed formed in womb. Fruitless as the lies she told, one more contortion act. We slept together 4 more times after that. And I know, I never should have let her back in. A little more. Returning to scene means I was culpable, not real victim. I must be extra, stretching truth, as all men do, incendio. But when has intimacy ever been clean? At least now, do we not all hold and hide our own horcruxes? At least now I can recognize a parcel-tongued dragon mother when I see one, and I'm not too fond of being called boy who survived, because there are many parts of me which have not. Azkabaning failed spells to break the bond and lock that door, Colloportus, casting out those hoping to keep you prisoner, pleading release, relatio. Stuck in state of half-awake, bound like sleep paralysis, the body at rest and arrest in one, Petrificus totalis, even in midst of an act as honest as consented sex, it follows you, as dementors do, creaks of rusty bed, springs, memory, and there you lay, a port key splayed, conjuring logic why perhaps now you crave control and see the macabre in all things, no longer mesmerized, learn to recite. Wow. Apparently,
That was such
I got so jarred by that, my Zoom kicked me off.
it was such a powerful poem and spell put together. This is like
I cast a spell on myself. It kicked me out of the room. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Sorry if there was any disruption or interruption.
Can't you just finish where you were at that point?
Yeah.
What happened?
Can't you just pick up where you were, where you froze, or you don't know?
Where did I freeze? Because I didn't catch it. I thought I finished.
You did.
Your hand is like that. I thought you
It
did
was
finish.
probably no longer mesmerized.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I totally cast a spell on myself. All right. So I'm gonna just read that last 2 stanzas. Thank you guys. Okay. So Wi-Fi is the biggest of Crucio spells. Anyway, no longer mesmerized. Learn to recite unforgivable curses which bind. Crucio, regardless of sex, of aggressor trying its best to slither in, shedding skin of every snake that made you pray, renervate, and if they ever try again to pry their way in, simply point and say, Avada Kedavra.
bravo.
Oh,
Thank you for sharing that, Paul.
Yeah, so that's how we poets, we just casually walk up and are like, hey, these are things I've never even talked about in therapy, but I'm gonna drop them on y'all in a poem. So as we often do, poetry is an act of active healing. In my mind, it's the way I've kind of decompressed and got through a lot of things. I'm gonna stop talking once again. I just keep rambling. I'm gonna read one last poem before I open up the Q&A, and this was requested by my partner Rosie. So I'm gonna go ahead and just read this last piece, which is the last piece of my book. So I guess it kind of fits that it's gonna end my reading portion. All right. So this is called Hammer. Ever since my finding a spinal cyst, I haven't been able to lift. Went from CrossFit to crucifix sick. Out of the shape and state of think I've grown accustomed to, ushering me to weigh self as lesser than. A bird-chested, bed-rested, chub-resurging layabout. No son of Odin, thunder god, beard, hammer, and triceps here, just fear of being left paralyzed. Routine reps of hammer curls rust and sit, compressing me. No clean and press overhead could overwhelm this crippling sense of hem's worthlessness. Ghost dog excavating graves for skeletal. Yes, I am Cubone. I am both Cubone and not. Sure, I mourn mom and howl at the moon, sobbing into her hollow skull. I repel those reaching out to me and still tend to feed the loneliest breed of suffering. But I'm working on it, attempting to patch hull which sits ocean floor, captain hooking vertebrae latched in collateral twist, body gone limp as brain send of endorphins to places I've lost connection with, zombie and outpatient, awaiting fairly long stay in recovery, which means no throwing up waits for me. So for the time being, I walk with a limp. My cardio's shit. I eat just as much and that legit nearly scares me back to vanishing. Valium slip past gate to worship feet of sleep's victory. This goat stock ship of wallowing, stowing hope some trickster god anesthesiologist would pump miracle into me, pre-surgery. And while in the OR going under, I saw her again. She was smiling, silent, and dressed in red. Maybe it was the oncoming coma of meds, these perks of being a flawed cassette, Star-Lord thread I'd wished upon 10 years strong, riding high like Rocket Man. Daniel is driving tonight. Pilot seat. Perhaps the exhaust of anxiety brought her here, riding crest of Medicaid, cloaking shame in rhyme and mead. So Andre 3K, line out cast to throw, a happy rope, that role, the part you starved to fit, when you thought would cast you king. A shadow hug from mom to envelop ribs. This better half a decade spent getting clean. But any addict can attest you're never safe, never far from the cave-in again. Stalagmites thrust. Mind won't trust dark night thoughts. Cowl and cape of sabotage, Heimdall beating back Hela from Bifrost Key, entrusted to me as guardian of the realm, of self, of safe, retaining water weight, assuming I'd balloon if I remove spoon in vain, conflating aesthetic with strength. What is better, if not the place you go, to ask what's fair, relapse, repair? A funnel-caked carousel of drowned animals, mirror maze and sledge held to ring bells, in short, a carnival. Realizing that hammer's just a tool, but if I am too, perhaps one too broken to fix, is it worth attempt to mend? You know what pisses me off the most about Marvel films is how the heroes always look so goddamn pristine in every scene, ideally coiffed and shit. I loathe how they stand in perfect poses as camera pans slow to catalog statuesque. I mean, how the fuck do they stay so fit? Are all layers secret gyms? Do injuries only exist as stalling plot device? And how does one achieve this Avenger physique without it costing them life and limb and constant revisiting loss of friends? I guess I ain't it. A super useful human with powers like confidence, in the sense to know they're wanted here. I mean, half my heroes off themselves, Chris Cornell, Chester, Heath. What I learned from them is how to camouflage death in jest. To bury grief in a black hole, son. Soundgarden of famed okay, that in the end all you are is a joke. A special effects chubby Odinson reduced to one-liners, but on second watch, noticing this is no cheap ploy, but a real, for once, development to display. Worth is not commensurate with measurement. Even while working out holes in hull, that you don't have to carry that weight like a cross, like a load on back, burden of cape you may never fit. And as I watched that God go quantum to see his mom again, seeing how simply being by her side lit up the entirety of his face, that regardless of all he's lost, he was not a loser, despite having family, home, friends taken from grip. Frigga's son could still summon his purpose, and it would come to him, the true Mjolnir. And as that hammer hung by his side, eyeing the monument, it finally clicked. We are all worthy, whether 8-pack or keg, okay, or depressed, 50-inch quadriceps or hobbling leg. Our greatest weapon only takes the kind of strength that doesn't come from press, from muscles, from being ripped, or being fixed, or being perfect in any sense, that all you ever need to lift is to remember you're it. And thus you raise that hammer overhead, swinging until all that's left is a memory of dust. Whew. All right, y'all. So that is gonna bring my performance portion to a close for now. I want to I want to now ask y'all, what questions do you guys have? This is the Q&A portion. So for at least the next like 10 minutes, you guys can just throw your Hadoukens of questions at me, either in the chat or if you raise your hand, I will be scrolling through if anybody has a. Okay, so I'm gonna mute everybody and unmute. I see Jessica raising her hand, and then I got Hannon, I got Mary. I'm forming a line in my brain. So Jessica, Hannon, Mary. All right. So Jessica, go ahead.
And first off, I had no idea that dark arts was as dark as it was going to be. You know me, horror writer, so I was just like, oh, this title sounds interesting. So thank you again for reading that and sharing that. What made you use the parallel to all the Harry Potter movies? Or
yeah, so that's a really good question. At first, that was a completely different poem that was called Sex Minus Yes. and it was much more like calculated, and I used a lot of different metaphor. But then it came to me one day, I was like, I called her she who shall not be named, because I'm not about giving, you know, the aggressor, the actor, the abuser, notoriety, right? Like so I literally just dropped like she who shall not be named was in the poem, and I was like, wait, but what if I turn this whole thing into like a Harry Potter parallel? And then it started coming to me, because these spells have power, and kind of like our minds also have the ability to conjure things over us, right? A lot of people have explained it, you know, being in a situation of sexual abuse, you kind of just freeze, you know, it's like you're paralyzed. And that's what it was like for me, feeling, you know, helpless, even though I, you know, people be like, well, you outweighed her, you're not helpless, what's, you know, you're an idiot. But the mind can do that to you, right? So to me, it kind of felt like, you know, the Harry Potter spells, and each of them are words in Latin. I did hella Potter research. I love Harry Potter. I've you know, read the books and seen all the films, but doing that, I was like, okay, I want to, you know, I want to make sure every single spell has a purpose, you know, and every time that I drop one, it has something to do with what's going on in the poem. It's an image. It's a parallel to something that's happening. And Eric, who's in the chat, he helped me edit this entire collection at William Patterson over the summer. He can attest to the amount of painstaking thought I put into every single thing and every spell. I'm like, but what if I use a different spell here? What if I use a different one? And then I was kind of just like going down this deep, dark Potter hole. But yeah, so thank you, Jessica, for requesting that, because otherwise I was
done. It was beautifully done, and I hope that you were able to find some kind of release and power in getting all that on paper.
Yeah. It's the first time I've really spoken to more than 3 or 4 people about it in my life. And I feel like it is, you know, it's a powerful thing to be able to speak, you know, even though it's really dark, it allows me to shine light on the dark, so it doesn't have as much of a stranglehold, you know? And I just wrote the second piece I've ever written about this same thing happening yesterday. So as you can see, I'm just, you know, rapid fire, working at the healing process. It comes every few months now, I guess. But yeah, I mean, kind of like following through the instinct to make this part of the collection. It was really scary for me, because then it's out there in the world and I can never take it back. I can't, you know, deny it, and I can't be like, you know, I don't want to talk about it, because it's there in print, you know, forever. So
Well,
thank you for requesting that, and I appreciate your question.
thank you for sharing.
All right, so I'm gonna move to GH next. Hannon, you had a question?
Hey, Paul. First of all, thank you very much. It was amazing. You actually brought me to tears a couple of times, in all seriousness. And are all of your poems from life experience?
All of the poems in this book are. Not all of my poems, period. So I do, you know, write about things that haven't happened to me, or things that matter to me, that are social things. And I've written, you know, fictionalized and fabricated stuff plenty of times before. Like younger, you know, poet me, adolescent poet me would be like, oh, let's write a poem as if I'm in the Vietnam War. Let's write a poem as if I'm a fisherman coming home to my son. And it's like, not as a metaphor, as like a persona piece. So every single poem in this collection is based off of my life and is confessional poetry. I think I put my footing into confessional poetry. It's where I think my voice comes through the strongest, because we speak the strongest through experience, you know?
Well, you've also done poems on your mom too, correct?
Oh yeah, there's a poem in there to my mom, and she appeared in Hammer. She was that specter visiting me while I was getting put under for a nice back surgery.
I have to tell Paul, it's true. I tell you right now, believe it, because the same thing when I had back surgery and when I had my hip replacement, my mom was standing there at my head.
Yeah, because
as I faded out, I saw her. She was there.
Because it's just blurring the lines. It's blurring the lines between, you know, like dimensions and you know, our planes, because they're there. We just don't see them all the time, you know. So
and when someone is loved, they're never gone, and a mother is always a mother, here, physically or not physically.
Beautifully said. Yeah, and I know how much you love your mom, and how you continue to, like, you know, beat the drum for her and love her and celebrate her. And that's what I think I hope to do in my poems also. I did that in Mother Red. That's a whole poem. That's to, you know, my mom. And this whole book is in dedication of her and my second mom, my Bloomfield College mom, Paula Craig. Because my mom passed away while I was a student at Bloomfield College. and Paula Craig just kind of swooped in and was like, I got you. I'll pick up all these broken pieces of a young man and help continue to guide you. And for the next, like, 7 to 8 years, she became my mother figure, from the time I was like, 21 to the time I was like 31. And then I lost her, going on, she died getting a knee operation, so I've also tried to write through that too, because it's something that it's like senseless, and I feel robbed of two moms. Most people, don't even lose one in their lifetime or wait a very long time. But yeah, so hopefully if you guys do have the book, you can also read Mother Red, because that's a piece that's really close to my heart. And I feel like when we write about those we lost, we can keep them here and keep their memory going, even for those who haven't met them, and I feel like for me, writing is my way to process grief. And everybody going through this pandemic right now, I'm very sure we're all grieving in different ways. And my advice to anybody when they come to me like, hey, what can I do to like have an outlet or whatever? Because I try and openly talk about my mental health all the time. And I try and say that like writing is our way through. Writing is the way that we can process. Writing is the way that we heal from trauma. And yeah, that's been a big thing for me through this whole pandemic. I've been writing like 2 or 3 poems a day. I'm in 2 different poetry groups that do prompts every day. And so I'm writing, and I just wrote a poem a couple days ago about my mom and Paula coming to me, and I worked in a Beatles song somehow, and that was fun. So yeah, thank you, GH. Thank you for that question. I appreciate you and I love you.
Love you too.
Right, so next, Mary. So ML Brown, my fellow 3 Mile Harbor.
First of all, love your shirt.
Thank you.
Second of all, I just want to make another comment about dark arts, which one of the lovely things about using the Harry Potter references is that because it's a YA book, it emphasizes the youth of the speaker, which I think is really important in that poem, which is sort of another subtext of it. But my question has to do with the craft of your poetry. I have the pleasure of holding this lovely book and following along as you were reading. And the poems, pretty much each one, use white space and spaces, which are powerful on the page, but I'm not sure that if you didn't have the book, you would hear that. So I just want you to talk about that, about your choice of using the white space, of using spaces in between words as a craft choice.
Yeah. So I mean, we as poets get to be sorcerers. We get to be, spellbinders. And so I try and use, whatever I can. I use a lot of M dashes, and I use a lot of double slash. I use the backslash, but like 2 of them in a row because I want an extra segment. Where the caesuras that I use, or just line breaks, white space. I feel like that's my ability to call attention to like little things. I'm like, look at what I'm doing over here, because like I said, I'm a very tongue-in-cheek referential type writer. I like to call attention to, hey, I'm doing a pop culture reference here. Hey, I'm doing a double entendre here. And so like, I guess that's my way of kind of orchestrating and being like, look what I'm doing here. Kind of like, a magician is calling your attention to something. Meanwhile, they're doing something much more sinister or sneaky behind the scenes. So I'm calling attention to something. Then maybe to later gut punch people, or just to be like, hey, actually look at this thing. It can be one of the 2. Sleight of hand. Yeah, Jessica nailed it in the chat. But yeah, I mean, like I'm somebody who writes for performance most of the time. When I write a poem, I'm reading it to myself as I'm composing. And so a lot of the time I feel like, I don't know if doing it in print all the time does it justice. I feel like there has to be a certain flow or voice to my poems for them to fully catch. But I feel like, hopefully using caesura, using these white spaces, and using all these other, tricks of our trade, I hopefully get that voice across to people,
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
And I also really loved your book. I love getting to celebrate it last year.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Does anybody else have a question? Sorry, I haven't been at all in the chat. I'm just trying to pay full attention to what I'm saying. If anybody else has any other questions or wants to raise a hand, drop something textual if you're a little screen shy. Okay, all right. Well, we got no. Okay. So I saw Priscilla, so I'm gonna head to Priscilla. Hey, Priscilla.
Hey there, good to see you again.
Great to see you.
I, j- I just want to stress how important what you're writing about is. Someone I love very deeply is bulimic, or was she's. I guess you're always bulimic, but she's
Yeah.
she's made it through. But it was really tough that time, and I had no idea what it was like. And I
Yeah.
think what you do is you help the world understand. I want to send her your book so she'll know it's okay.
Yeah.
Write about it. I think she's kind of buried that part, but it's always a part of who you are, the healing and everything. So I applaud both your work and your process, your healing process.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And I do hope, that person who you love, we are constantly, recovering from it. Like, that's the thing, is that I still get thoughts in my head sometimes, like, hey, you shouldn't be, having this, or, you look fat, or, right now you are not your ideal self. We still get those voices, hearkening in our head. And so I'm always in recovery. And so, like, that's something where I constantly want to call attention to it. I want to be able to talk about it and make it not a taboo thing, where we as a society can talk about going through eating disorders the same way we're now becoming more comfortable talking about mental health issues, because I think a lot of people would reach out for lifelines if they knew that people were willing to help them and talk about it. It's a very, like, private and shameful thing, I feel, for a lot of us who live with either or both, because they're kind of hand in hand. If you have body image issues, if you're willing to starve yourself, you're willing to probably purge. And it's all, it all starts in the mind. And if we use our minds to kind of spill it out, to purge it through our words, instead of having to physically enact that on ourselves, I feel like that's a release that's healthy, that we can have control of. Yeah, I feel like since I've, that the second poem in this book, I started writing once I graduated from Bloomfield in 2011. And I think that was when I really started the process of healing. I still had relapses. I still had, bouts of trying to love myself. And I don't feel until I started to write about it and focus on it and make it my entire, area of study in grad school. I don't think it was until I started to write about it and discuss it openly with people that I could actually fully, come out of it, and not have it just be hanging over my head. So thank you very much for sharing that, Priscilla, and I appreciate that. And I hope you do get the book to her or him, and you can connect me with them if they ever want to talk, because I've talked to a lot of people who've been through it, like me, people who have felt comfortable confessing or talking to me about it, because I do wear it on my sleeve now. And yeah, if they would like to talk about it, I would love to,
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm actually getting to stuff in the chat now. So Marty, I can send you that piece about my mom and Paula. I can send that to you. I would read it, but I feel it's kind of similar to Hammer, and I don't want to be redundant at the moment. I also don't want to keep y'all too long. Trying to look at what's next for me as a poet. Can we see another book of poetry in the future? My really good friends, Erica and Jerika, asked. I'm hoping to do a full-length collection sometime. I already have, like, a loose idea. It's going to be called Bodies of Light, and it deals a lot with, it deals more with me grieving around my mom and Paula, and it deals still with body image, but it deals with a lot more social issues, bigger than just that. I write poems about the Flint and Newark water crisis and the things that are going on within our communities, and that, like, 6 years later, Flint still doesn't have clean water. And I write about more social causes, because I am a very active person in social causes and advocating. But I felt, since I was limited to under 40 pages for this, I didn't want to blow the balloon up too big and try and accomplish too much. Ganego was always telling me, like, you got to keep it focused, LaTorre, you got to. And so I tried to have it all contained to this, more or less about body image and mental health was my aim here. But I'm hoping to do, a full-length collection sometime in the future and get that out into the world within the next year or two. I would really love to release more of my demons into the world. I think I saw Hannon with his hand up for another question. Yeah.
Well, first of all, about being shy, I am a little on the shy side, but I've known you since the day you were born, so it's okay. And I just wanted to say, I mean, I remember you from a little boy to now, and the kind of man you are that your father and mother are very proud of you, first of all. And I've known you your entire life from birth, and I'm very proud of you. And whenever we ever get together and stuff, it's funny. You call me Hannon, your father calls me G, the rest of the family calls me George Hannon, the way your Aunt Michelle phrased it. And but the one, I have to admit, you're a great hugger, Paul, just to let you know. Through all this process, any people that know you, you really give a good hug. It's the only kind of strange way to say it, but through all this
I want to go back to hugging. That's what I miss.
social distancing, you're a really good hugger.
I'm going to hug you through the screen right now. So I'm going to just send the best hug that I can through a Zoom
Thank
room.
you.
But yeah, I appreciate that. Hugging is an important art. And yeah, also like human touch and contact. I think a lot of us are missing that social distancing. And so like, you know, I hope all of y'all are writing and sending your love to each other through whatever way that we can, virtually, textually, poetically.
I personally I like the virtual gift hug.
Yeah.
It just comes out like this.
Yeah, and I was also really nervous about reading some of these pieces because like probably a fourth of the room is my actual family, and like I definitely don't write towards the safe side. Some of y'all are like, ooh, wow, that is a visceral image, Paul. That's a lot to process. But at the same time, you know, our dark should be accessible if we, you know, are willing to talk about our darkest thoughts or our darkest actions and whatnot. Hopefully that doesn't mean anyone's going to be any less proud of me or think of me any differently. I'm the same person that you knew yesterday before you heard all these things put out there. And yeah, I think.
Well, Paul, vocabulary is important, and it tells a feeling, and it expresses the emotion, either joy or anger or pain.
And perversion, apparently. I like writing about a lot of perversion.
It works.
All right, thank you, GH. I'm gonna unmute everybody so I could kind of like hear from all of y'all if anybody has a question. If not, I'm gonna read one more piece and then we can kind of dip. I'm gonna hang around in the Zoom in case you guys want to talk to me. In case you have any other questions you didn't feel comfortable throwing in front of the whole Zoomiverse. This is So did y'all have fun today? Can you guys make a little noise for me?
Try not to be rude.
Not rude. I love the noise. Yeah, Xander. When I do readings, I'm like, I don't want y'all to sit on your hands. If it's quiet here, I have failed you. So that's the thing, is that like I don't like being I like being loud, but I don't like being the only loud ass voice in the room. So I appreciate all y'all so much, like coming out and celebrating. I've never had something where all of the pressure and spotlight was on me. Never. Not in my, you know, thesis for undergrad or grad school. Never been just me. It's never been a one-man show. So this is super anxiety inducing. Y'all are the best because you've made it just be like, nah, Paul, we got you. We're gonna virtual hug you. We're gonna show you love. So I appreciate all of you carving out your hour for me today for Disappearing Boy. I hope if you haven't gotten your hands on the book, if you do, if you have any questions, you can reach out, you can DM me, you can message me, you can carrier pigeon me, whatever way. I will put my email in the chat so y'all can drop me emails.
You were amazing,
I will even put my phone number in the chat so you can text me if you want, because I am that wild. But yeah, I'm an open book. If any of you are going through things yourself, whether it's mental health or it's any kind of abuse, self-abuse included, and you want to talk about it, I'm here. And I would love to be able to put my shadows out into the light so we can, you know, come to a healing together, because I feel like that's what writing has been for me, you know? But yeah, I'm going to read one last piece. I'm not going to mute anybody, so y'all can make noise during this if you want. I'm going to acquiesce all the controls. And then I'm just going to hang out and shoot the shit with you guys if you want to crack open a beer. If not, you got to go get started on dinner. You're ignoring your family. Then you can stop ignoring your family and enjoy the rest of your beautiful day.
You're my favorite professor, Paul.
Thank you, Daya. Yeah, also, I want to give some shout outs. Shout outs to Pamela. Thank you for helping me moderate the chat and for your diligent work on the book, on the cover art, on all of the editing process. Pamela is like not just a colleague and a friend, but she is a gift from the heavens as far as like putting these, you know, putting stuff together. Ganega.
Thank you, Paul.
I want to give Ganega one more shout out. I know he doesn't want the attention heaped on him, but Ganega, I owe all that I am as not just a writer, because I don't know if that's what you're proudest of me for, but as a professor and an encourager of the arts and a peer pressure of fellow writers to put their work out there. So I have you to thank for the teacher that I am. So yeah, I appreciate you. For my partner Rosie, who is my first audience for everything. She is my first critic, not my harshest critic. She's always super supportive, but she helps give me that confidence to not be afraid to put myself out there, even my most difficult stuff out there. So I love you. I don't just share a house with you, I share a life with you, and I'm glad you let me in on life with Junior and you. And a big part of this book is thanks to you. All of my family that's in here, my father and my stepmom, my dad, George,
very proud of you, Paul.
my cousin Olivia, and my cousin Tony. It was just her birthday yesterday. I got other cousins in here. My cousin Dina. Sorry, I'm just like rattling off names. But anyway, everybody who's in here who is family to me, I love you. I love you so much. Thank you for supporting me for all of my flaws. Aunt Joe was like a witness to a lot of this darkness and suffering, and she probably knew it the whole time, and I was just oblivious. Thank her, my brother, my sister, everybody who supported me when I was my shittiest, because if I didn't have love there, I probably wouldn't have pulled myself through. And yeah.
Too hard on yourself, Paul.
I'm hard on myself because all artists just shit all over ourselves. We're like, it's not good enough.
Everything that happens, yourself. There are a lot of different circumstances that life just drops on you, and you deal with it what you deal with it. You had a couple of hard shocks there. You were very young. So.
Yeah.
Well, you pulled out, and you're the great guy that you are today. You're a better man for it.
Ready, Sam.
Thank you, Auntie Joe. I love you all, family, friends, people I haven't even met who came to share in this this launch with me. I appreciate you all. I value you all. My professors, my colleagues, everybody. My homies from Bloomfield College, my homies not from Bloomfield College. George, I see you. Erica, Jerika, Iris, and Angel, I see y'all chilling in the chat since the very beginning. I love y'all. Richard and Marty, two of my professors who had such an enormous impact on me. Anyway, I'm gonna stop just showering y'all with love because y'all have given me so much.
Well,
I'm gonna read one more piece. This piece is inspired by the cover art. I didn't write this until National Poetry Month, and I was getting a prompt a day. And I'm not used to following prompts. I give prompts now because I teach creative writing, but I challenge myself to write an ekphrastic poem. And I feel like this really mirrors the work that's going on in the book, and I'm hoping this will be in my next collection. So this is called Abracadaver. Aren't we all looking for mirrors when we select our favorite works of art? And our audience. Great artists engrave their pain deep into skin and make you think you are seeing something genuine. For 7 years, I starved myself, emaciated and withering, transmuted from man back to boy again, one who believes in magic, God, the longest con, hoping one day this commitment pays off in being transcendent. Ribs jut like a baby bird cage the magician would keep discreet until the prestige, cloaking tools to execute. I've made redacting an art unto itself, a spell of sorts. Of course, do you not see my cheeks peeking red? It is tiring, tearing flesh from limb, disarming to watch one's own hand disappear as if vanishing. 1 minute I am preparing the sacrificial bird, and the next I am him. No sleight of hand. Sad to say, I'm a few years late to the club. Hendrix, Kurt, and Basquiat are all plenty drunk off monkey wine. Heath Ledger and Egon Schiele are slapping knees, cackling at me as we speak. 32 missed his mark. Unless he thinks he's Jesus and shit. Spent all this time refining one magic trick to make a grown man evaporate into thin air without help from assistants or guillotine. This prestige don't come cheap. I have been mastering the art of slow dissolve long before Copperfield came along, depriving or prying two-tongue depressors in esophagus, the loneliest boy you'll never meet. Feeding the bird he needs to wave before the crowd, while behind his back he is readying this mechanism and canting the spell to end it all, and with the flick of a wrist he
Bravo. Yeah! Oh.
All right, y'all. So thank you so much. Like I said, I'm gonna be hanging around if you guys wanna chat with me, have a drink or just talk. I appreciate y'all so much. It's a gift to be here in the room with all of you today, and for you to give me your attention and your love when you could be anywhere else. Well, not anywhere else. When you could be can't go very many places.
Hey,
When you could be doing anything.
I've had several Zoom things that I turned down just to be
Yes, I got Zoom priority.
No, but I do have a question. Are you gonna have like any signed copies you're gonna be selling?
Oh yeah, so if you want a signed copy, you can just get in touch with me. That's the thing. Sadly, the press doesn't have any signed copies of me because I couldn't physically, go and meet up with Ganega to get signed copies out. If you want one, you can get in touch with me and I can mail it to you, USPS. So just message me and we'll work it out. We'll work it out through, whatever medium.
Well, maybe we can also tell them about your reading in downtown in the Poets House, so they could meet you down there and get a signed copy.
Yeah, we have a reading coming up in late August. That'll be the Three Pauls and Pamela at Poets House, which is like the dopest venue for it's a straight poetry library, the only one of its kind.
Nice.
And it's right, it's in, it's not,
Tribeca area?
Yeah, it's Tribeca, not
right on the river.
Yeah, right near,
almost on the river.
Right near Ground Zero, not very far from the World Trade Center. You can make a whole nice day of it. We did the last time, me, Rosie, Eric and Jerika all just walked around after, the reading, which was a beautiful reading. We missed you, Jerika. We missed you so much that day. It was like heartbreaking to have so much joy and love in one room and not have the person who kind of like, tethered it all together there. But anyway, looking forward to the event in August, getting to have you there and getting to see hopefully your beautiful faces, everybody here in person, so I can give you a non-virtual hug.
You know the date yet?
What's the date, guys?
Let me look on the calendar here.
August 20 something. I want to say.
I'll tell you. I believe it's August 29th, but you know what? We'll send. Let me go. Hold on. Let me go on the site.
29th.
29th.
Yeah.
I'm going to share the invite to that in the event page from this. I'm going to drop a message with the link to that event invite.
It's like 5 to 6. No, it's 2 hours, maybe.
Yeah,
5.
it's
I
a
didn't
lot
have to look. Yes, share that link then with them, Paul.
I got y'all. I'm gonna Jedi mind send it to all of y'all in your brain right now. So yeah, hopefully you guys can see us in person. I know we're also planning a Bloomfield College launch.
Yeah.
Like soft launch / reading of a bunch of different creative writing professors, past and present. So Ganega and I know Pamela will both be there for that. That's gonna be sometimes in the fall, as long as we get back to in-person classes. I'm hoping.
I think we will.
I'm hoping people, will listen so we could go back to, physical in-person life.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I mean, you don't want to have to give the elbow anymore?
Yeah, I mean, Air 5s are cool for Pam and Jim, but it's not working for me. I miss, I miss cheersing.
I went to almost kiss my sister-in-law on the cheek, and I forgot, and she pulled away. I said, oh, my Lord.
You're like, oh, no.
People are afraid of catching COVID.
When this all started, before like we had strict lockdown orders, I went to the steakhouse with Freddie, and President Evans was there, the president of Bloomfield College. She was there with her husband, and it was like when we're first learning about social distancing, like we're supposed to have 6 feet. But I walked in and I had such a rush. I had such a surge of adrenaline and like joy to see, Freddie and all these people and, Christina Dilks, all these people from the college that I love. And I just kind of ran up to and hugged like President Evans. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. He was like, oh, it's okay. Like none of us had acclimated fully to this new normal that we're living under,
Yeah, it's all really weird. My neighbor who we're really close with, she was dealing with getting news about her father being diagnosed with cancer, and she's like talking to me about whether or not she's going to go visit him because he's out in Canada, and she's crying, and I'm immediately like, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't hug you. So we're both like in tears.
Yeah.
Just like 6 feet apart from each
Oh, this is something I wanted to talk about too. Yeah, I'm doing a quarantine based around the pandemic right now. So that's something I'm doing with students and colleagues of mine, for alumni from Bloomfield College. So any of you guys involved in Bloomfield College at all, or not, if you just want to send in a submission, and I can kind of sneak it in there also. If you're writing anything pandemic focused, quarantine focused, mental health while being under social isolation, we're going to publish that in early June, and all profits are going to go towards pandemic relief. And yeah, so I know George is going to submit something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Nick's working on something. Leah will put something together. Not to put people on the spot or anything.
When's that deadline?
The deadline is May 29th. Because I'm trying.
My thesis deadline.
Yeah, I mean, like it's still a good, almost 2 weeks, and I'm trying to have it out in the beginning of June because I don't want it to be like by the time I get the relief out, we have a vaccine already. I'm sure. I don't mean to joke about it, but I'm pretty sure a vaccine is still pretty far away. But I want to be able to get relief and messages out while we're still in the thick of things, because I hope it'll be at least a distraction, if not a healing process for people going through.
Sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Paul?
Yeah, Richard.
Once upon a time in your Bloomfield College life, I actually thought that you might well become a serious philosopher. However, Professor Ganega, I guess, won out on this one. He went over to the dark side.
They have cooler lightsabers. I mean, what can I say?
Cooler lightsaber.
They get the double-sided ones. You get the hilt,
In all seriousness, I just want to say that as a former teacher of yours, very, very proud to be able to say that I was one of your teachers. And congratulations on a wonderful reading, and I'm sure a fine book, which I am going to purchase.
Thank you, Richard. I really appreciate you were one of the handful of professors who had a ridiculous impact on me and the way that I think and the way that I go about, putting my ideas out into the world. You made me think more, and not just word vomit, which I tend to do. And I also felt like, I think I could minor or maybe double major in philosophy, because I loved your classes so much. I took biomedical ethics, and I'm in there with all nursing majors and bio majors, and I'm here just but if we think about this theoretically, why are you I'm sitting there thinking my writer's mind, and they're all thinking their science mind. But yeah, I would have followed you into any class, because your classroom environments were just so welcoming and engaging of all ideas and perspectives. And I think that's something that we need. We need to have more open minds to discourse. We can, dislike people and still be able to hear them out, and to have, a healthy exchange with them where we both grow from it instead of just cutting them down, And I think
you are more than kind, and I'm sure you're doing that now in your role as a teacher.
Thank you. I appreciate those. I don't take any compliments from you lightly. I know you now as a friend, and every time I see you on campus, I stop and talk to you for an hour. And I pick whatever seeds I can from your brain. So I really appreciate you saying that, Professor Hart. And I genuinely mean you've been one of the professors that's had a profound impact on me. So thank you. And another one who's in the chat but has not vocalized in a while, Marty also. Marty is also always sending me things to submit to, and virtual readings and contests and competitions. And so, to be writers, I guess, yeah, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Luckily I've been super productive during this whole lockdown. So I've been writing a lot and putting my stuff out there and being fearless. I hope y'all are being fearless, those of you who are writers. I hope you're not holding back. Just put yourself out there as much as possible.
That's very inspiring.
No, I mean, we can't go anywhere, but I'm I'm going to do the open mic at New Yo. I'm going to submit my shit to Dodge. I'm going to I'm going to send my thing in here and there. And I have a low opinion of myself most of the time when it comes to my professional life, because that's just how I am. I'm a critic. I think I'm shit even now that I have a book. But when you put your stuff out there and it connects with people, I feel like you can see the impact it has. And so us as writers, we just have to not be so hard on ourselves. Right, Brianna? Brianna, you got something featured, right? You got something featured. What was that in?
I had 2 poems featured with WNYC for their
Poetry Writing Month prompts.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, and you and me are published next to each other. We each got a piece in the
We
quarantine zine
are.
that Eric put together. And he was actually one of the inspirations for me to think of the quarantine, because I want to be able to do what he's doing, but instead of Willie P voices, I wanted to have, I wanted to have that Bloomfield slant. So yeah, I mean, let's put our loud ass mouths to a good cause,
Oh, for sure.
But I'm super excited to see what you do as a writer, because I'm a cheerleader of your voice and your work, and I've tutored you and shared my work with you, and I highly I respect your ability to tell your story, which is a very necessary story, and I can't wait until I'm at one of your launches.
Thank you. And you'll be getting my thesis poems at some point this summer, believe me.
So is everybody hanging out? Is everybody having a drink this Sunday? You guys, if you guys want to leave, you're free to leave. You don't have to hang here muted.
It's been a while since I've last seen everybody, so I'm down to hang out for a bit.
Cool.
I came a little late because I've been working on the
Love you, man, Joe.
The thing to type out for you for the quarantine. So far I got like I think 17 already. I'm working on trying to get like more for you.
Holy shit. Yeah, I mean,
I've been doing a lot.
So Nick is a former member of the Live Poet Society, who he was part of this poetry org that we started on Bloomfield College campus back in like 2010, and it still exists. Yeah, I'm the staff advisor for the Live Poet Society. It's a little bit on a hiatus, but it still exists. And he's been helping me with our Pandemic at the Disco, our poets group on Facebook.
Oh, the prompts, yeah, because I was just like, I'm like, I'll post a prompt, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got more for you. Like, here you go. It's just like I got so much time in my hands. I'm like, I might as well like give you guys some prompts. I was actually about to post one today, but you got it already. I'm like, oh, I was gonna help you out with the we could focus on the release today, and then but you already got to it. I was like, all right, well, I'll go with that.
I appreciate you picking up the slack, man, because my attention's been other places over, the past week and change. Molly Woods, Ganega, you remember Molly, right?
Oh yeah.
She's been we've been in close contact over the past like month. She's written a bunch of stuff she's gonna submit to the quarantine. She's working on the editorial board. I should put you guys in touch because she has been writing some really powerful stuff.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I would like you to.
In my life, I miss her.
Yeah, she's such a phenomenal writer and a great person. She's been a big rallier of the troops from when I put out the call like 2 or 3 weeks ago. She's just been like keeping our group on track and inviting other people. She's on left coast time, but at the same time, like I feel like she'll be able to make it into a few meetings. It's going to be interesting. We already have some really powerful work for the quarantine. Elijah submitted a piece too the other day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Are you guys drinking or not? What's going on?
I have to leave the screen to get some.
I was thinking.
I've been taking a little bit of a break from drinking for a little bit, so like like I've been trying to clean up a little bit, like clean up my body a little bit more. So like like I've been off it now for like what, more than it's got to be 10 days now at least. So like I've been feeling like pretty good. So. Still sucks waking up in the morning sometimes and be like your stomach hurts, but like other than that, like hey.
I mean, like what the fuck? What else is there for me to do most of these days? But like it's at a certain point it is beer o'clock, and you just have to try and enjoy this scaled down version of what you got.
I hear you on that one.
I didn't realize
for me it would be Jack Daniel o'clock.
Yeah, I'm not condoning alcoholism either. I'm not. It's, we're past 5 o'clock now. It's totally fair game.
My kitchen's downstairs though.
Definitely.
No, but seriously, I appreciate everybody, all of y'all who made time today. And it's not that it's not the same as an in-person launch, but that's not to discredit this because I think this is a totally different experience because it allows us to like engage and actually all have time for each other. I feel like I get really overwhelmed at big readings, and I kind of like read my stuff and then I'll go and like disperse and speak to 2 or 3 people, but I've gotten way more engagement from this than I think, if we would have done our full-blown in-person thing. So it's kind of its own.
That is kind of true because like I mean, I haven't done a book launch. Hopefully I'll do one, but like throwing regular parties where you're just like, oh, we're gonna have so much fun. Da, 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 da. And next thing you know, it's like I've only spoken to everyone for like maybe a minute.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on in people's lives.
Yeah. I feel so out of the loop. I feel like we're not socializing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, so when are you done with your grad program yet?
No, I actually had, thanks COVID, I had to take an incomplete. My thesis, which is a Gothic novel that I'm working on, is due on the 29th. The first draft was done November, December, and I have to do revisions. And as a typical writer who's not happy with the ending, decided to take one of the secondary characters out, which happens to be in every damn scene of the book. So
major. It's just a minor rewrite, you know, just like deleting a character's existence.
Yeah, but actually this week coming up, I only have like maybe a day and a half of work. I took off a couple of days and I was just like, I'm just gonna be working on my thesis. So it took a while to get, you know, the juices flowing again, because yeah, I don't know if any other writers had this issue where all of this stuff happened. It was just like, what do I do? Like, I'm just sitting here and you want to write, but it's just, I don't know. It felt a little pretentious on my side.
Yeah.
You know, you have all these essential workers out there doing all these like crazy things and risking their lives, and it was just like, and here I am sitting in the safety of my own home writing a book.
We're privileged, like writer's block, and we're like so upset, you know.
Right. It's just like all the things that we used to complain about or whatever that made us like our typical selves. It was just like that just seems so minute right now.
Yeah.
So there was a little shift in, you know, in that arrogance, I suppose, but yeah, I kind of like dealt myself, not completely myself out of it, but talking to other writers, and you know,
are you part of a writers group, like online or anything?
I am actually. I'm part of the Women Authors of Maryland group, and we sort of just started meeting up with a group of friends of mine that also write, that we met during retreats. Cool. And we're calling it Getting Lit with Libations.
Nice. So you guys you drink and you edit and you work on, you know, you workshop shit.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's been helpful.
When we get back to normal, I want to steal that idea. Even when we're not back to normal, like just a writers group with drinks sounds so fucking awesome.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. We start off the intro asking everybody like, what's your drink of choice today? It can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic, doesn't matter. You know, so that double speech there, getting lit.
No, yeah, I love it. It's great. We called the literary magazine Lit back like in 2017, but it was more or less off the like Travis Scott Lit, so it wasn't quite as double entendre-ish, or like it's not gonna stand the test of time. But yeah, I mean, like, that's two of my favorite things. If I could combine socializing with awesome people and drinking with workshopping and diligently helping people with their writing, fuck yeah, sign me up for that.
Yeah, man. I'll throw you out an invite if you just want to join us. It's on Thursday nights.
Sounds great.
At 7, so I'll send you the link. We'll be happy to have you there.
George, how's it going with the little man?
Good. He just brought me a non-alcoholic drink.
Nice. I feel like having your kid bring you like a screwdriver, having your like 9-year-old know how to make you a screwdriver is probably a little bit messed up.
No, he's listen, I've been homeschooling, so I've been drinking a lot.
Yeah, word. Same here.
Homeschooling, oh my God, it's been driving me crazy.
By 10 a.m., you're like, I'm fucking done with this day. And it's like, but it just started?
Yeah, and he's telling me, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
But you and Shell are both teachers, right?
Yeah, she's a ESC teacher, so special education teacher.
Oh, yeah.
So she's been going through it too, going crazy.
But it's so much to juggle when you have your full-time thing and then you're teaching a kid at home too. It's like compounds everything, and it's fucking hard, man.
Because it'll be like this, and then he's behind you going.
And you're trying to focus, and you're like,
No, I'm listening.
Thank God we have mute buttons on Zoom. That's all I'm gonna say.
Let me read the Proverbs on beer from the Bible. I just heard this yesterday. I've never heard this. Let beer be for those who are perishing, wine for those who are in anguish. Let them drink and forget their poverty and remember their misery no more.
What does it say about whiskey?
I didn't say anything about whiskey in there.
Did they have whiskey in biblical times?
I really don't know.
No.
Anybody know?
It probably would have made its way in the Bible. It probably would have made its way into the Bible.
I think
they had the ingredients. They just needed a good Scotsman to help them with that.
Lavulin.
I will say, and I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but it's always stayed in my head since college. And I'm not trying to embarrass you, Professor Ganega, but I remember in my intro to writing class, when you go, words can be misleading, but have such a fun sound to them. For example, and then you look around and you go, syphilis. Syphilis. And that stuck with me forever. Because every time I hear a word, I'm like, that word is very misleading. That doesn't sound like what it sounds like.
It's a sounding word, I think.
Yeah. I remember a guy, and I wrote about this. He's like, he calls, he's like, have you ever considered residential financing?
Oh, you froze.
George. Oh, he was mid-anecdote.
Oh, it was like when
Damn.
you doing the front part.
George, you froze up for a second.
And now we can.
So the guy's trying to sell me a mortgage, but he kept on referring to it as residential financing. I'm like, what the hell is residential financing? And then finally, I guess someone's like, oh, you're trying to give me a house? I don't want a house. No, thank you.
You tried to paint the horse shit.
You should have just said syphilis to him. He would not have wanted to sell you anything.
Would you like syphilis?
Syphilis, please.
But that's the thing. Coronavirus sounds like it would be super fun, right? It sounds like it's like the party of viruses. It's like, coronavirus.
Yeah, well, corona means crown. But who wants that kind of crown, right?
Well, that's true.
It's misleading, you know?
Yeah, it's just like how did it get the name for this disease? I mean, I know this isn't the first coronavirus. Like, there's been others. But like, how did it get like?
Well, I will say,
right from the crown, like
when my son was 4,
It's
he
actually.
had go ahead.
What's that?
It's going to be SARS-2, actually, because it's part of the SARS strain of coronaviruses.
Okay.
So at some point, probably change the technical name to SARS-2.
I'm pretty sure the Bear Corona is hoping they do that very quickly.
Really driving their sales down.
I hadn't thought about that.
It is. I think they almost went bankrupt. The
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They could have picked any other name.
I do like Corona beer.
It's a good light beer.
With lime.
I like it with lime, yes.
Only with lime, mainly. But yeah, I'm really hoping that like I can meet up with a vast. I mean, I know George is in Florida. I know Jess, you're all the way in Maryland. But most of us, everybody else is like close. So I can't wait to be in person with you guys and get a drink. And if you don't have your book signed, to sign it in person, right? I know George, you said you're coming up to Jersey sometime.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to be able to reciprocate the love and support because it matters to me to help, you know, support and uplift other people when they have their accomplishments too. So I just, you know, George, Jessica, and Nick, I know Nick, you already self-published, which I worked on that with you, but whenever y'all get your stuff published, I want to be there. I want to be, you know, your biggest champion and support you all because I know that's on the horizon for you guys.
I appreciate that.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely, I definitely want to get some things out there very soon. But I've been working on so many other different things. It's crazy. Like I already have a novel like I'm working on and everything too as well on top of this.
Nice, man. Yeah, and I know like George, you've been, you know, not shamelessly and also diligently promoting your Hellhounds series, right? Because you self-publish Hellhounds, and also what was the name of the karate one?
Oh, that was a Yame.
Yame. I love Yame. That's gonna be a screenplay. That's gonna be a movie someday.
Are these
I hope so.
like graphic novel type or?
Well, I've been writing a lot. Yami, I've been working on for like 4 years, and I wrote it as a short story.
Okay.
And then I just started experimenting with screenplay because I never thought about writing and dialogue. And then I started writing dialogue, and it came off a lot better. So then I started researching more on how to write screenplays, and I just wrote it in a screenplay. And to me, it sounded better in dialogue just because I thought the characters had more to say. But I mean, there's another short story that I wrote called Anaya White. There's another one that I wrote that I'm working on, Chasing Bulls, that I want Paul to read. I write nonstop, almost like schizophrenic. Like the characters come in my head, and then I gotta put them on paper, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's the only way to stop our heads from racing is like I'm gonna just put it down. I'm gonna put it into.
It really is.
Yeah, or when you get that one character that's just relentless and keeps trying to talk to you over and over again, you're like, shut up.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah, and two things drove me to just start taking it more seriously. One, when I reached out to Paul, and he was like telling me he remembers my work from college. I was like, all right, well, if Paul likes my work, then I'm definitely going now.
Mm-hmm.
And then my son sees me talking to myself a lot, so that doesn't help.
Dude, your short story about the kid who was at the bus stop and he would talk to the guy in the suit every day, and then that was in Marty's class. That was in Marty's contemporary writing, and I remember reading that story. And at the end, it turned out that the kid was homeless and he was going through all this depression. And I was like, yo, this man has just a way. Like you have a voice that merges the YA with the adult reader. Like you make YA for adults, kind of like how like Juno Diaz in a way. You know,
I mean, yeah, that's one of my inspirations. I've been reading How to Lose Her, and what was it like Chasing Bulls, for example. I'm writing on the 2008 financial crisis, but I'm writing it from the perspective of a like 6 to 7 year old trying to make sense on how did mom and dad lose their house, even though they're so educated. Why are they losing everything? So it's his perspective of trying to grasp everything. So I was like writing that perspective of the perspective of the people who just like don't know what the hell is happening. So
I mean, nobody. It's perfect. Nobody understood what the fuck was happening when the bubble burst, you know. And but I just love how your voice can like take on so many different personas and not ever feel disingenuous, you know. Like when you read Yame, it becomes those characters, you know. It doesn't ever feel like you're putting on, you know, a costume. So that's true. You're such a strong fiction writer. I'm very sure that you're gonna have your own novel or novella out sooner than later, you know. I mean, you already do, but I mean, like you know, I want to hold it in my hands.
I think he froze again.
George.
Yeah.
No.
Either that or he's just in awe of your comment.
I was gonna say, you froze on me, but I'm pretty sure it was beautiful.
No, I was saying I can't wait to hold one of your you know book children in my hands and you know.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it's just it's funny. It's like I hear you talking about it out loud, saying how you doubt yourself, and I remember being in college listening to your work, and I'm like, well, if Paul writes like that, what the hell chance do I have writing? Like, and then I hear you saying it now, and I'm like, I think it's just every writer just goes through that. We're just always like, oh my god, this is crap. This is crap.
That's that imposter syndrome. Yeah. Gotta like tell it to shut up.
Yeah.
You know, just throw it in the closet, stuff a sock in its mouth, and just get up and throw away the key.
Split its throat. No, I mean, but that's, you know, like we all are way harsher on ourselves than we need to be, because I think that's the critic in us trying to make sure our work shines the most. And, you know, sometimes it can border over into like abuse, like self-abuse.
Yes,
but I think like, you know, just the more that we congregate and we share with our own writers tribe, we can, you know, have people check us and be like, you don't suck, you're insane if you think this is hot you know, like the more that we share and open up to one another and we trust each other with our work, we can help grow our work when we're not afraid of doing that. For such a long time after, you know, I got my bachelor's, I was afraid to put any of my work out there unless it was like to Rachel or to Ganega, right? And I would only like I would be very private with my work. And now I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to put my work everywhere. I'm going to post it on my Instagram, and I'm going to, you know, submit to this, you know, contest. And we just can't be afraid to have whatever insanity we think is in our head out there, because it's not, it's, you know, it's much more than we think it is.
Yeah, I was afraid for a really long time just because was like, what if someone steals my my idea? And I
There's
can't.
always a lot of that.
remember
Yeah,
the
there's always a
originator.
lot
There is a lot of that goes around. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Had
was.
that happen to me.
Actually, this is something I wanted to pick Ganega's mind on, because I just had a student text me earlier today asking about copywriting. She's a current student at Bloomfield, and she's going to self-publish a book this summer. So what is a good copywriting company she can go to copyright her work so no one steals it from Kindle?
I would look it up online. I can't tell you offhand. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I mean, she may want to just go. She can go on the Library of Congress website.
That's I was about to mention the same thing. The
Yeah.
Library of Congress is the best way to go about it, and you just fill out the form and everything, and then like I forget how much it is to like copyright it.
Yeah.
I don't remember the figure at the top of my head, but that's usually the best way to go about it, is to like go through the Library of Congress and everything like that.
Yeah,
Cool.
because like,
I'm
I
gonna
think
text
they
her.
charge dependent upon like either the pages or what it is that she's trying to copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's poetry. So I think it's under 50 pages of poetry, but she just doesn't want people to steal it when she publishes it through Kindle.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, because there's like the copyright that way, and then there's like the little copyright. Like I just put like my initials on there. Like whenever I put my work out there, I always put my initials on there and everything like that.
Perfect. I was going to Google it, but I'd rather ask humans than Google most of the time, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The less Google knows my habits, the better.
Yeah, facts.
She'll also get an ISBN number that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ISBN number is big too.
Yeah, I mean, like I've had literally like 8 or 9 students ask me this year about self-publishing or publishing a book. And I'm like, no other year in me teaching have I had so many students interested in being published authors. Like, it's really encouraging to me of the like energy of the writers at our, at our college, because, in past years, it's like, yeah, I had strong writers, but they didn't always take initiative,
Yeah.
I've had 5 of my students start poetry, like blogs or Instagrams just this past month.
Oh, wow.
They're constantly coming to me, like picking my brain, like, how do I do this? How do I promote this? How do I get published here? And I'm like, oh, well, what you're doing is great right now. Like, you have to keep building up your voice and your portfolio and build on your foundation before you feel like, oh, I'm going to be published, this year.
Yeah, that's
time.
basically like what we talked about in class, because we've done like the publishing ecosystem marketing courses, and it was just saying, build your brand.
Yeah.
And just do it through social media.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Honestly, not being afraid and doing the Nuyo, I've gained probably 115 to like 130 followers just in the last month or two from doing Zoom open mics and people being a big fan and being behind my work. And, I feel like the more we're just open to putting our stuff out there, the more good things will come to you. You just have to stop getting in your own goddamn way,
This is true.
Definitely.
So this was a gift. This was a gift for me, y'all. This is a beautiful way to spend a Sunday.
For all of us.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
it.
Ganega coming up with the idea. I'm like, it's just gonna be me? That's a lot of pressure. But Ganega had confidence. Even today in the email, he's like, I'm so excited. It's gonna be so great. And I'm like, that makes one of us, yes. I had so much anxiety. I peed like 17 times before I locked myself in this room today. I had so much anxiety, but it really wasn't that bad. So, it goes to show we build it up in our heads that it's going to end us.
Yeah. You did a great job, really.
Could you imagine, like, if you were like in the middle of it, like everyone's computer froze but yours? Like, oh my God.
I mean, when my Zoom closed, when I was in the middle of dark arts, like the piece that I'm the most apprehensive about sharing, my computer froze and then Zoom exited it. And I'm like, did I just close? Did it die because I'm the host? I was like, so very afraid, but it was fine.
When you see the recording, it's something like it. When it froze, it just froze at perfect timing of the poem. So you're just going to be like, oh, that's not bad.
That works. You might want to work that.
I honestly thought for like a hot second, it was like you did it on purpose because you were like this.
Yeah.
And it was just
It's
like,
this-
oh, okay.
The still that'll go in the review.
So
I cast the spell.
It was actually really good.
So in future times I perform that, I'm just gonna freeze like this.
Right. So people
Maybe not exactly like that, because that was not the best hand gesture. Ooh,
So
okay.
everyone else on here are writers as well?
Well, not, I mean, like Marty, have you written? Marty is my brother's she's also family of mine for my lifetime. Marty, have you written? Is this a talent I don't know of yours?
No, unfortunately, I do not write. I prefer to leave that to those that are more thoughtful and inspirational, more so than I. I prefer to be inspired to act out the written word instead.
You are an actress, so
Nice.
that fits.
Pretending to be, anyway.
You're not pretending when you are. I mean, like your background credits are far beyond, my acting credits. So,
I've been around a while, and I'm older than you, so there.
Well, I don't plan on being a background actor ever again. I put those days behind me. There's too much.
Really?
Too much temptation from craft services. So.
Yeah, well, that may go by the wayside. It won't be much for us anymore anyway.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like right now, how does that work? Do you guys get unemployment being part of SAG?
Oh, yeah. We do qualify for unemployment. We are technically like freelancing or day laborers per se. So every time we leave a job for the day, we are technically unemployed.
Gotcha.
And we are unemployed due to lack of work.
Yeah.
Not from being laid off or being fired or anything like that. There's just lack of work going forward. So fortunately for us, that's been it's been a godsend, to be honest with you. So, but on the other hand, as background, this year the rest of the year may be a little tough.
Because when things open, they're probably not going to open.
Well, they will open, but they will open slowly. And we are an industry that's very interactive person to person. So that, that means there's a lot of logistics to work through. Absolutely. To be safe. Yeah. And it's not an easy industry to get back into.
Yeah, just like I've heard Broadway might be shut down until January, regardless if other things open come fall, that Broadway is most likely going to be dark until January. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, the entertainment industry will probably be the last to get back online, only because, like I said, of all the logistics needed to be worked out, because it is such a tactile, interactive industry, by nature. So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, thank you for sharing more. And also, my girlfriend is a writer, but she doesn't fancy herself a writer. So
I'm not.
She shared one Thursday night we did the New Yorican virtual mic, and she had a little too much wine and was feeling brave, and she was like, volunteer me, I don't care. And I'm like, can my girlfriend go? And they're like, Paul Conqueso's girlfriend wants to go. So she read a poem, and she had people in tears. She literally had people like crying and like, girl, this is so powerful, this is amazing. She just doesn't claim herself to be a writer, although she is.
No, I'm not.
She does it less frequently, so she thinks because she doesn't practice it as much, it's like, can you swim? Yes, I can swim, but I only do it like once every 5 years,
Yeah, that's once your ink gets on that paper and you draw out a painting out of words, you're a writer.
She has the knack. That's what I'm gonna say. She has the knack. She just doesn't, flex it as much.
Maybe.
Well, yeah.
Now she has you, Paul.
Gotta keep giving her that wine.
There you go.
She always has to be drunk. Then she will always be ready.
The Bible, so it's okay.
True.
The Bible, liquid courage.
In the Proverbs.
That's the great thing though about doing this is like when I would go to the New Yorican, I would probably spend like $40 on a night of like getting beers at their bar. Like now I get to do it at home and it's much cheaper and I get the same kind of I save so much money. Like so much money.
Yeah, I know. My bank account's like, oh, I'm actually saving money. What?
I think everyone's bank account is like really happy with us at this moment.
Right. Just wait till like you let us out though. That's gonna be the problem.
Yeah.
They're opening everything over here tomorrow, actually.
Oh yeah.
George.
Yeah.
George's in Florida.
I'm in Florida. I'm in Tampa,
Oh,
Florida.
they're opening up in Florida tomorrow. The
Yeah,
mall?
yeah, they're doing a 25% capacity or 50% capacity. But like, yeah, gyms and the jiu-jitsu gym, everything's opening up. So
Oh wow.
it doesn't get any closer contact than jiu-jitsu. You're like hugging people for 6 minutes straight. So,
Hugging at the mall, right?
You have to write a Florida Man piece. You have to write like a piece about the Florida Man and what they're doing. Because I loved your Florida Man costume. That shit was great.
which I will say this, I did that as a joke, like I'm Florida Man, and then Tiger King comes out, and I'm like,
it's Joe Exotic. I was
Joe Exotic before I even knew who he was.
Picture of this Florida man.
Damn.
Share
it was
it
literally
on
Joe
your screen.
Exotic. It was me with a mullet and a crowbar mustache, and I was just like, I literally put a last minute. I'm Florida Man.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
And then Tiger King comes out, and I'm like, oh my god, I was Joe Exotic before I even knew who he was.
I predicted it. But yeah, I mean, like, if we say Florida Man 5 times, will he appear? I think it's like the most dangerous thing right now is that like people in Florida are acting like this never even happened.
Right.
And,
Oh yeah, Florida. Yeah, I can talk for Florida for 3 hours straight.
It's only gonna make things more acute. Like it's only gonna make so many more people sick. I'm really
out here in Maryland, we're doing a phase in type. So like our restaurants and our bars and stuff, the bars have, but the liquor stores, they haven't closed. But they've been doing delivery and curbside pickup. The same with like food. We have a couple food trucks come through the neighborhood, and as long as we're practicing social distancing and wearing our masks, just to kind of keep the local businesses afloat.
Yeah.
But other than that, all of our classes, I work for a college out here, so everything's online, and I think most likely we're going to keep going online throughout fall semester as well.
Damn.
But I think they're going to start phasing in the staff to come back sometime in late June or July.
I miss it. Virtual teaching is just not the same.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely a different beast. So, but we'll see. Oh,
this is the Florida Man.
Picture,
Sorry, I found it.
Oh, geez.
Oh my God!
George Exotic.
Jeez. Oh.
Perfect.
I'm loaded on Florida craft beer. All IPAs there.
I'm telling you, you can write like a post-apocalyptic story about like the Florida Man. Like Florida
That's
men
awesome.
have taken over all of society.
That's amazing.
Listen,
drinking out of one another's, like cups as you go to the bars on the beachfront, like.
And he's just like oblivious as to what's happening.
And then he could have like a pet anaconda, which the anaconda is like the worst thing that ever happened to.
It was just biting my neck.
Have it around your neck.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, like there's going to be a whole lot of interesting creativity to come out of this. Like, and there's humor. We can poke fun at it once this all passes, like I feel like memes have been a life-saving device for some during this time, just to like vent. And, this is.
I will say that's the one thing that I see in the Walmarts down here that just kill me, where people will have their mask on and then remove their mask and open a bag of chips and start eating it. And I'm just like, then why are you wearing or they'll have the gloves on and put their hand in the chips and stuff.
They're eating their COVID.
I'm like, there's a secret ingredient there, man.
Walmart men can occupy all of the Walmarts. I mean, Florida men can occupy all of the Walmarts in Florida. That's where it all starts.
It really does. Next to the George t-shirts.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna end this in about a minute or two. Let everybody go on about their day and have their Sunday dinners. But
no, this is fun. I'm neglecting my child. This is great.
Like,
dude,
make me feel like I'm actually working on my thesis, but I'm not.
You're
doing research. You're talking to other writers. You're culling inspiration.
Educate myself. I'm like, I'm at work.
Congregating.
So glad to be together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is that like when I had the Lit Mag launch, I stayed on for like almost an hour after just talking to my students, and they were like, "We don't want to go. We don't want your class to end." And I'm like, "But I'm not giving you extra credit if you stay on like that." Like I can't. That's the cool thing about me doing this quarantine is like I have an extended semester now because I'm meeting every week with students, alumni, and stuff. George, you should join us, man, if you get the time on Mondays at 2.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll do it for sure.
Yeah, hop on. I'll send.
Mondays at 2.
Yeah, if you can.
Oh yeah, not my work.
Okay, never mind. But anyway, I'll catch you up on what we're doing.
For sure.
It's super dope.
I already finished actually the piece for the quarantine. I'll send it to you.
Yes, I'm excited. Please do, because next week I don't really have any good material for next week. I just got out this week's today, and I probably have like 2 pieces. I'm trying to do like 10 a week for us to review, and so far our acceptance rate is like 60%, which I like, because some of the students are afraid to be harsh, and that was a problem we had with the Lit Mag. That's why I had a 234-page digital magazine. Yeah, it ended up being way more encyclopedic than I wanted it.
Yeah, well, you know me, I like being harsh. Ruin it, shred it to pieces.
The students that were harsh, the other students who are more forgiving would like chew into them, like, "Why are you being so critical?" I'm like, "They're supposed to be."
Yeah, I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Editing with millennials, I don't know.
But I just feel a lot of it was probably like they knew when their classmates' works were up for like consideration, and so they wanted to be more kind than cruel, even though I capped them at like 5 per contributor. I feel like they were just kind of like, I don't want to hurt this person who's my friend, and I'm like, there's no crying in literature, like it's okay. I've had pieces torn to shreds before the Lit Mag. Ganega has told me pieces I loved were not good, and I survived.
You said it with such bitterness.
Oh, I'm not bitter at all.
It's seething out of your mouth.
No, I'm still hitting her. It helped me like level up. It helped me,
No, for sure. I always say it's worse that I go, yeah, it's good, and then you leave with this confidence. I'm going to perform this live, and then now in front of 100 people, you're just bombing.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it wasn't great.
Yeah. It's like the stand-up set in Joker. It's just not meant for anyone.
Exactly.
Definitely.
But yeah, I appreciate all you guys so much, and I'm around for whatever. I mean, like I'm gonna talk to Ganega obviously, and Pamela, and Marty's gonna send me a million. Well, there's 2 Martys. I just realized. Marty LeBear is gonna send me so many emails, but I appreciate you guys so much. And if you have anything you need, Jessica, George, Nick, y'all know, reach out to me.
Always.
You got it.
Take care. Nice to meet everybody.
Awesome, man. Congrats.
Nice meeting everyone.
Take care, guys. I'll see you guys again.
Appreciate you guys so much.
Bye.
Have a great rest of your Sunday.
Enjoy your Sunday. Take care. Be safe.
I'm going to fulfill what the Bible says to do. Drink.
Drink a lot of wine. Spill the girl. Drink that wine.